paper it's written on.
I told you what my bill that I wanted to pass was, will you do it? Will you bring it?
We asked a question so the audience can hear it.
I want a bill, I want somebody to pass a bill that they will pass no bills longer than 10 pages. Constitution at 10 pages, or the Bill of Rights, or whatever. You gotta be able to pass a bill. You can't put a whole lot of garbage in it if it's 10 pages.
You can't put a whole lot of earmarks in it, it's simplistic.
And you can't sneak a whole lot of stuff through for lobbyists.
It's written by attorneys.
Yeah, but 10 pages, if they can write it in 10 pages,
Look
fine.
at like your credit card agreement. I mean, your credit card agreement is 10 pages long alone. It's telling you
I know,
what,
but
that's
you
just telling you what an interest
You
rate is.
cannot
So,
tell me, I'm a writer,
yeah.
you can't tell me you can't write a decent bill in 10 pages.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that's what happens when you put lawyers in charge of writing
That's why
legislation.
you need to vote for Senate. I'll get to the second bill. You need to you need to elect senators that are originalists. You need to elect Congress people that are originalists. This Constitution, it's pretty simple. The only time you get changes to the Constitution is when you get a liberal Democrat in there. We have to worry about the definition of is. Dale?
Yeah, that 10-page, I'm a supporter of John Rysavy and an activist for the fair tax. And I would hate to see the fair tax law reduced to 10 pages. Part of what it has to do is to repeal all existing federal tax code.
What if you did it in 10 bills
I was
instead
gonna
of
say
in?
13 bills, do it in 13 bills. You can do it in
Oh,
13
well,
pieces.
I suppose it could probably be reduced. That is a possibility. That didn't even occur to me.
There is
But
no reason.
from
to have to
70,000
have
pages
things
to
that nobody can
150
read.
looks pretty good to me.
I agree, 156 pages or whatever it is much better, but
Yeah.
you can do it in 15 bills.
Well, then you run one other risk there that is rather significant and could very well destroy the benefit of the bill itself. The risk you run is that one of those 15 bills would be one of the essential ingredients to the success of the overall bill. For instance, in the event, let's say you got it all passed except the price inclusive clause, which means that every time you buy a car, you got to go pay the sales tax separately. Then you've destroyed the value largely of the law. One of the key ingredients of that law is that it is price inclusive. There are other little aspects of it that if you lost those by virtue of not getting them passed, it would destroy the continuity of the law. The government has their fingers so deeply involved in our economy. We need to be careful in the extreme when we commence removing their fingers from our economy, and we need to do a thorough job of it. I've read the bill 3 or 4 times, and I can't see how it could be trimmed down a great deal. It could be trimmed a little, but not much.
Well,
Actually, what I'll do is
I
I'll
think
get a copy of this. This is
I've heard
actually
that excuse for how it got to the place we've got 2,000-page bills. It's like we can't wait something out because if we're not passed anything, I think that's how we got in the position we're in now. And if you can't pass it in 15, 10-page ones, I'm not interested. And if you need somebody to help you write it so you can put that provision in every one, I'll help you.
Don,
You know.
along those same lines, do you know, I'm of the understanding, but I'm not positive, on this Obamacare, if it can be repealed, if they take out any part of it, if the whole bill has to be repealed, that somehow that even in 2,000 pages that they made a mistake and did not write it up right, write it up correctly for what they wanted, I should say, that the whole bill will be destroyed. Actually, that's what I'm hoping for, but I don't know.
She's right.
I have heard that, but once again, I read the 3,200. I haven't read the reconciliation, the bill that came through, but I'll defer to brighter minds on that. It comes down to fundamentally someone asked about the states' rights. It comes back to the 10th Amendment. Something that's really important to me is the Constitution was not written in an oasis. It was surrounded by the Douglas Papers, the Federalist 45 is something that we here in Kansas need to stand up for. We have an Attorney General in the state, Steve Six, who will not pursue part of that big lawsuit fighting the health care bill. We need to recognize the powers of the federal government are enumerated and few. The state of Kansas, you think about it, the governor of Kansas is far more powerful in theory than our senators or our U.S. House reps. But this federal government, we've seen a usurpation of power and a growth that has just beggared the imagination. You think about this, if you look as a factoid, and it kind of comes down to, if you look at the sales of guns, such as like AR-15s and bullets, there's been more sold in 2007 and 2010 than the prior 20 years. If you don't think our Second Amendment is under assault, right now, I can tell you this, there's a governor in Illinois, there's a governor in New York, there's a Mayor Bloomberg in New York City that are really upset. This was a great day for the Constitution. The thing that was sad to me is, and Yvonne, you mentioned this, it should have been 9-0. It was 5-4. People, that's where we got to hire, and I say hire because I'm interviewing for this job, people that will fight for you and recognize the Constitution is my handbook to represent you all in Washington. Am I the sharpest crayon in the box? No. I carry my own sharpener, and I will fight every day for you all. And I'm not a trained attorney. I'm not a trained politician. I got upset, and I decided to go out there and do something about it. And, you know, I paid the price here the last year. It's a price I knowingly and want to do and be put in the fire. And there's good days and there's bad days, but the best days are being right in front of folks like you.
Well, you know, that's another comment that I'd like to make too. He was talking earlier about Dennis Moore. I don't know if very many of you ever went to any Dennis Moore's so-called town halls. There weren't town halls. They were not town halls at all. He would not be brave enough to stand up and take questions so that everybody in the audience could hear what the question was and what the answer was. No. Remember John said that he was number 38 of 40 people? Yeah, you had to go to a table and sign up and sit down with him on a one-to-one so that he could have talk to you all by himself and nobody else could hear. That isn't a town hall. That's not a town hall at all. He was a coward. He hid behind everything. And so we need somebody who is willing to stand up and face the fire of whatever the question is.
Amen. I think I can still say amen with my First Amendment rights. Sir in the green shirt, do you have any questions?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Am I good on your screen?
Doing fine.
You never know where it's going to end up, so.
Yeah.
I have one while we're discussing taxes, once before.
I pay my taxes, so I'm probably overqualified for the job.
You explained the difference between the fair tax and the flat tax.
Right.
To me very well, but I'm a slow learner.
Oh, that's fine.
So would you briefly explain again why the fair tax is better than the flat tax?
Okay, and it kind of goes back to, you know, I was in college, I was a history and economics guy, so I like to joke around that I know a lot about what didn't work yesterday. In the 80s, the big debate was Keynesian economics versus, you know, Milton Friedman. We all know that Milton Friedman went out and Reagan was called the voodoo economics guy by Bush Sr. But in actuality, if you look at the record, Milton Friedman was spot on, he was a genius. You have a guy named Art Laffer who was working with Reagan. We all know about the Laffer curve. If you raise taxes on a good or service, you get less of that good or service, that propensity to do that because people get smart, they adapt, they adjust. So with that being said, I used to be a big flat taxer. I said, this sounds good. Everybody pays the same rate. You send the postcard in, you're all good to go. But the problem is, you're still going to have a corporate income tax. What the fair tax does to solve this problem is corporations don't pay taxes. You want to talk about jobs? The big issue this Jay is not jobs, it's the lack of jobs. A lot of you have, you know, friends, neighbors, nephews, grandsons, granddaughters, kids that can't find the jobs they want. Why is that? The biggest cost of a job right now is not labor, it's taxes. That's why these companies are leaving the United States in droves. And I can tell you this. Let's say, Yvonne, you got $10 billion in the Cayman Islands. I don't care how much of a patriot you are. To repatriate that $10 billion back to the United States, you're not going to give up $3.5 billion.